Mm.
Hi, Royalty. We're back again for what week is it? I don't know, but it's week something. And
3?
whether you're in a week 3 or whether you're in a polar vortex or you're enjoying the lovely weather, because I see everybody traveling, I'm not going to talk about it. I no longer can talk about it because I myself am a hypocrite. Yes, I am. I'm in California right now. I won't let you know my location, but I said, no, what really happened is that Tess is like, if she just wouldn't stop nagging me. And I had to fold because, when your lady starts nagging you about something, if you don't change, it's going to be a problem down the line. And, I said, let me nip it in the butt and make her happy because happy significant other, happy life. You feel me? If you're wondering why my voice is not as steady as it is, I'm balancing a soccer ball on my head right now. I'm multifaceted. I do many things. But besides all that, Royalty, I hope that you have been having a lovely time in this quarantine second round of the winter. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe. Salutations, greetings. Damn it! It fell off. Damn it. I thought I could go at least 10 minutes. Break the world record. But hi, what's up, RBZ? What's up, white man? How y'all living?
Good.
Good.
Austin, you're not that damn tired.
I told you I was tired. I have a cold, man.
That man is yawning on the
Fighting
damn
a cold. I've been taking Dayquil, NyQuil.
Oh, so you're like drowsy.
No, not right now. I took Dayquil.
I had to stop taking Dayquil when I first used it because I literally could not stay awake. I was like, this is dangerous.
Dayquil doesn't have drowsy stuff in it.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something. You should know this about me already, Austin. I'm a very holistic person. So drugs don't really interact with my, dang it. They don't really interact. The soccer ball fell down again. They don't really interact well with my body. So every time I do anything, it just doesn't go well with me. I mean, you see me, I don't do drugs. Let's just be honest. I just don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids.
It's
Don't
not
do drugs.
There it is.
And there they said it ruins your life. And for me, it just ruins my body. I don't function the same.
For me, I crash and burn.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. I feel like that's common when you're doing certain drugs like cocaine, but I'm not going to say anything, Austin. I'm not going to.
No, that's just weed, which is legal here. Weed. It's just weed. Actually, weed's the only one that is legal. That's not a drug.
Do you know what's crazy? I realized, in the end of college and adult life, 23 plus, so many more people do way more drugs than I thought. I didn't think certain drugs were that common.
Oh yeah,
insane.
Yeah, people
Maybe
do
I'm
it all,
super
Rachel.
naive, but
People hide it.
Shit.
Rachel, I feel like this is a local legend moment right now, Austin. Do we talk about our freshman year after? See, this is a local legend moment, but it's nobody that we know. So local legend moment. I wish there was a sound bar.
Oh my God.
Local legend moment. So when me and Austin were in college, our freshman year, we won the championship. So that for that night, it was really odd, right? So this is late October, early November. And we just won our conference championship. And that night we had our trophy. We beat our rival. I think was it Lakeland or was it WLC? It was WLC. It was WLC because we always play them towards the end of the year. So either way, we had the trophy. There was one kid who was a middle linebacker. He was freaking insane. I'm not going to put his name out there, but he was I feel like he was either drunk or high at every practice. I don't really know if he was, but he just had that demeanor where he's always out of it, but he's in it. Yeah. So he had this house in Milwaukee. So that night we won. Saturday night we got down there. We're at the party. Immediately, me and Austin walk in. Sky doing cocaine on the table. There's just lines of cocaine on the table. That was how the night started. Then we go downstairs.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
This is just a banger. We're having And the thing about Milwaukee, and especially when you're by the UWM campus, it's like literally everything goes. It's literally a block of, it's actually like a quadrant of like all these houses that the apartment have, I should say the school owns and whatever. But basically it's parties all day, every day. But on Saturday, obviously, craziest parties, right? So we had Milwaukee people, we had Concordia people, all in, and it was a bunch of other people. Basically, the night ended up basically the night ended up with, I saw people passed out on obviously beer, whatever, alcohol, whatever other drugs they were doing. But later that night, we actually found out that somebody had died at the party, like on Locust Street, laid out. Apparently he got into
on the street.
On the street. Apparently he got into.
It wasn't at the party.
It wasn't at the party, but apparently he got into an altercation with somebody at the party. And then the following Monday or Sunday, or whenever they got out the news, we said, oh shit, weren't we at that party? And then we're like, oh shit, that guy was there. So, you know, it was just local legend moment. That's when I realized, I was like, and then obviously, if we really want to go, senior year, me and Austin just saw everything that last month of school when we took all those road trips. People were doing everything. Austin himself had a little glimpse of.
We went everywhere.
We went everywhere, and then Austin, you know, he had an interaction with death, I would like to say. But that's all. I'll leave it there. But that was the local legend moment. LLM. That's all I have to say.
He made two stories into one, Rachel.
Okay.
That's for another time where I thought I was gonna die. Not today.
Yeah, no, we don't gotta talk about it. We don't gotta talk about it. But yeah, I'm with you. I didn't know how many people actually started doing drugs, like heavy hardcore drugs, until I saw it, and then I was like, oh, this shit is completely normal.
Life gets hard, man.
I mean, yeah. I just like was so caught off guard. Like I was
telling you, like
I literally, I was like,
oh, what happened?
Okay, it's like some Bartlett kid shit, like super. Like I just thought like it was like a rich kid drug. It's not.
No,
I was
very easy. It's easy to get now, like for anybody.
Yeah,
it's not even a rich thing. It used to be, but now anybody can get it.
Fucking wild. Anyway,
was this in college, Rachel? I should look. Like, was this the first time you saw somebody doing like drugs like that?
So I've never like physically seen anyone. I know people in my life I became aware of.
Got you.
Like 23, 24, and then once that like kind of like glass was shattered, did I realize like, oh wow, like paying it more attention because I was aware of it. I was like, all of these people that I know are doing it. Like, starting to have to be like, okay, you don't come over to my house and do this. Like, if you want to do this, you're not in my space. Like,
yeah, everyone.
Like, I didn't know, but like people were just like doing it like under my like right in front of me, and I just like had no idea. Like, they weren't physically doing it right in front of me, but like
without you knowing, and then you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I feel like it's rude to watch them. I don't know why, but like for whatever reason, I don't know.
My interpretation of it is like that. I don't think that is a drug that will ever be legal, and so
hell no.
To do that in front of someone else that doesn't like give you their permission, basically, like you're putting them at risk for being like even just like being arrested for like that.
Of course.
Like that's just a super reckless thing, and I find it so offensive and just rude. Like, you don't bring this into my house. Like, you don't put me or my family or my friends at risk because you want to do this behavior.
Oh, you're more practical than me. I just go back to like, I don't like, for whatever reason in my head,
out of sight, out of mind.
I don't even do that. I'm like, oh, my mama said never to watch people while they eat because it's rude. So I'm not gonna watch people snort drugs.
Oh my God.
I literally, anytime I see it, I just go into a different room.
Yeah, I think like
I let it go. I'm like, all right. Yeah. Looks like they're doing this. And
like if I'm somewhere else and it's happening, like, yeah, I'll go to a different room. I'll leave, whatever. But I think it's from having like police officers in my family and just like asking questions, like as I'm growing up, like, hey, like if this were to happen, like what would be worst case scenario? Like, is it worse for me to have a fake ID with my picture on it or someone else's? Like just random questions like that. So like, maybe I'm just like more aware of like the practicality of the situation if I were to be entangled in some way. the outcome.
Right.
Rachel, just so I know, are you better if it's me and the fake ID, or is it somebody else?
So they're both really bad because they can elevate charges from just like a fake ID. Like if you have someone else's ID that you've just found, like that could be like a case of like stolen identity, like felon level stolen identity. Or if you're making fake IDs like that has your face on it, that's like forgery of a government document, which is also really bad. So it kind of depends on if you were to get caught, the police officer, like how far they would want to take it. Because both can be taken if like they're, super pissed off if you did something really bad, like that could be taken to an extreme level in either case. So like obviously both aren't great. But I feel like best case scenario would be like, oh, I just like found this and picked it up so I could like put it in the mail and give it back to them. Like would probably be the thing you could get away with, would be something.
That's interesting. That's super interesting. Like super, super interesting.
Yeah. Just like that's like things like you wouldn't normally think about, but I'm like asking like my uncle and my cousin, and I'm like, hey, what is this? Yeah.
Not that it applies to us anymore, but we do have people that are underage. Who listen, I wouldn't even say underage, that are just of age. Interesting.
Yeah.
Whatever. Everyone had fake IDs.
I was
what are you supposed to do?
Wasn't there a website that actually sold fake IDs?
Yeah, they all got them in high school.
One of my roommates in college like made them.
Oh, really?
That's a plug.
Yeah.
That's how you make moolah.
Like legit, like like professional like laminators, and like was able to like find like,
and that's how you
like,
pay for college.
The
random question
papers with like the prints on them and the holographic stuff. Like it was fucking nuts. That's another thing. I had no idea she was doing this until she moved out.
That's crazy. One random question: what's one thing you wish you would have done in college so you didn't have to work, like a side hustle? I think about that a lot.
Was a thing in college.
That makes sense for that makes sense for girls.
Yeah, I was at like peak physical prime in college, and I was working like 2-3 jobs all through college. If I could have just like posted some pictures and like called it a day, I totally would have.
Even feet pictures. Anybody. Could have made tons of money.
Would that make sense on such a rampant rape culture on college campuses?
Well, see, that's the only thing is you have to be smart about the things that you're doing. Which sure. I mean is the case in any situation. Like if I were to have an OnlyFans, I would be smart enough to post my face, not to like have anything associated with my name or my address, any like location information, which is where a lot of people go wrong. And a lot of people go wrong on like social media is they're posting where they're at while they're still there. Like that's a dangerous thing to do. So like just being aware of like what you should and shouldn't do. And maybe that just comes from my mom always being very careful. And again, probably like the police in my family just being like, hey, don't let the internet know exactly where you are while you're still there. Like that's not a good thing to do. Yeah, just be smart, ladies. Pay attention.
True. I wish I would have became a barber or a booster, because I knew people. People who basically it's either you resell something that you never worn or you like steal stuff and then you resell it. Booster.
Oh,
because I knew.
Yeah, I was taking booster as stealing and then reselling it.
Yeah.
Yes, but booster is also just reselling stuff that you got at like a cheaper price. So say you got it $20 socks, but you got them for like $5, and then you sell them for $25.
Gotcha.
But that's because I also knew a lot of people who did it and made decent amount of money. But there's stuff like that. Definitely a barber, because if you're a barber on campus, you're going to make bread. You're going to make bread.
Yeah, because people don't have a lot of money or don't know where to get a good haircut. Yeah. And they, even getting like $10 a cut or whatever is like, it adds up.
Yeah, I know this girl on my campus used to thread eyebrows, and she would like schedule days to go over to the sorority houses, and girls would just like
that's blood.
Her own business,
like, made a shit ton like threading girls' eyebrows on campus.
If I was as evolved as I was now in college, I would have been like, man, let me just get a nail.
It's not even hard to cut.
Let me get a nail tech.
To a certain point, I guess. Like to give someone a fade is not hard.
Yes, no, Austin, false. Let's not go there. because it's the blending of the fade that makes the fade
Yes,
the
but
fade.
I'm saying that's not the hardest part. It's the top portion of.
No, the hardest part is the lining, boy. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, for Black people, you know, because to line my head and don't make me look crazy. It's an art form. I try to tell people this all the time. You can't do it, and then you got to think about it as you're starting to grow the facial hair. Like when I get the cut, I look crispy, but when I don't, I look rough. You know what I'm saying? I look like I should be in an episode of Teen Wolf right now. Scott, I'm the alpha. No, skip that. I'm Jackson. I'm the Camara.
Had to stop watching it. R.I.P.
It could have been legendary, man. I just really don't know what was going on the last few seasons. But let's not talk about Teen Wolf again. Let's not talk about it. Short subject.
It was a good show, and it just fell apart.
Bro, I was listening. Actually, let me not do this. I'm gonna bring this up back later in the episode because I was in my nostalgia bag. But anyways, Rachel, I feel like this week on the podcast, there's something that we have to talk about. I mean, I'm gonna let you tell the people, but I feel like there's something that, you know, we should just talk through it being, you know, growing adults, consenting adults. I like saying that word too, consenting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I think I love talking about love and relationships because I'm a very loving person. I'm very in my emotions and touch in tune with them. And so getting to talk to people about their thought processes, about making very big decisions when it comes to love is like, that's my shit. I love doing that. And seeing that one of our very own is currently making a very big decision, I thought we should talk about it because it's something that a lot of people our age are probably going through or thinking about. So we're going to talk about moving in with your significant others today. We're going to talk about making a decision, making that leap, as white man here has signed a lease with his lady.
That sounds like a death sentence that you just said.
I knew he was gonna
he
say
has
that.
signed his life away for a lease for 1 year with his girlfriend. God. It's something.
You know, I was like, you could be a little bit more cheery about it. I mean, you knew it.
Listen, I'm excited, but you never know what's gonna happen. I know I've been with her a long time, but you know, living with someone that you've never lived with is, especially your significant other, is different. I mean, obviously I've been around her so much, but I don't share a bathroom with her now. And you know what I mean? Like different spaces.
Yeah.
Never have. So closets and living area. And I already am dealing with how it's gonna look and this and that. So I don't, you know, it's all different. I don't get a lot. I'm not getting a lot of say so. I don't like that. I like more say so.
That's cap, man. I was about to say that's cap. But the bathroom, are you saying like, what are you expecting out of the bathroom? Because you know I've shared a bathroom with you, so I know your struggles. I do know your struggles. I do.
Well, first of all, we were in college.
Oh my God.
Second of all, I would just like to say this. That I was not the dirtiest person we lived with. So
you are completely right.
So I don't act like that. Anyways,
keep in mind, I was the only one that cleaned the bathroom. I was the only one who cleaned the bathroom, and that includes the tub. And I lived with 3 other grown men. Yeah, that's all I will have to say. That's all I have to say. You know, it's just
that's fine. Anyways, I am older. I have my own bathroom, so I clean it. So I do clean. Unlike you're trying to make it sound like I do not clean. I clean my room. I clean the bathroom. It's just in shambles right now because I'm putting stuff in boxes. But no, like it's just, you know, there's one bathroom. Girls take longer to get ready. And she has more stuff than I do for the bathroom. And so I'm talking about just putting stuff in spaces, putting my things and her things in one smaller space. Talking about just trying to integrate it together. So
I feel like personally, I can't speak on it because I don't live with my significant other, but I think the hardest part for me is literally going to be like the sleeping routine. And when I say that is, anybody who knows me, I'm a night owl. I really don't care. I'll stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 6:30. And that's just how I kind of rock. Like I do a lot of things right before I go to bed, but that's like, say I get to bed at midnight, I might not go to bed until like 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I can't expect another person to be okay with that, because potentially they could be like, I need my 8 hours of sleep. Obviously I'm saying this because the person I'm with, she expects to get her 8 hours of sleep. But if I'm coming into bed every night, say at 12:30, 1:30, that's going to be kind of rough, right? Yeah. So like, it's weird right now, because obviously I'm here in California. So like Tess is asleep by 11:30, but like technically it makes sense now, right? Because 11:30 is 1:30 here. So like I'm going to sleep at the normal time. But say if it was like we were in Illinois, she potentially could be, well, obviously she would get used to it, but she's still going to sleep at 11:30. But I would still be going to sleep at 1:30. So like,
yeah,
how do I don't know how I feel, because I don't want to have to. It might be better for me actually, right? Because you need your sleep. But a part of me is like, I do some of my best ideas and my best workup schemes come up like in that midnight hour, that bewitching hour. So that's why I'm like, damn, how do I transition?
Hour.
That's what it's called, Austin. That's what it's called.
I just like how you said that. That's all.
And you know, I'm working on my narration. You know, that's my next endeavor.
Bewitching hour.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm like, damn. Because you know me, you know, you live with me. I stay up till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up at 8 a.m. I don't know why.
Do that.
I
do
that.
You do that. I mean, for like sleeping, I mean, we pretty much like, it's like the same though, because like, well, for now, like she, like for school, wakes up like 5:36, like to get ready and stuff, because she works at a school. So I mean, I usually wake up around like 6:15, so to get ready and stuff. So it's around the same time. So not too worried about like that part. But like I said, it's just the other stuff. Like we've been looking at like furniture and just like things to put up, and we just put a massive order on Amazon for like, you know, different kitchen stuff. And yeah, man.
It's great, especially like when it comes to like the financial side of it. Like who pays for what? Like, is this like, if I pay for it, is it mine or is it ours still? Like it's like super complicated, because like I had a friend who moved in with her boyfriend, and then they decided they wanted to take the next step, and like they wanted to get dogs together, and they're like, well, we shouldn't get dogs in an apartment, we should get a house. So he bought the house, but they lived there together. And like he bought all of the furniture, but it was like their furniture. And then of course they broke up. And his like name is the only one like on like the papers, like the furniture is technically
she gets nothing.
She's just like fucked now. Like she just has nothing and like nowhere to go. So like that's super complicated. But like I feel like part of the issue with those friends, I'm not trying to criticize them, but it kind of comes into play with like moving in with someone. You can't take that step. Like you can't be like, well, okay, like we'll move in together, but if we break up, like I'll just go here. Like that can't even be like a thought that occurs in your head. Like you can't have any doubt in your mind that you're gonna break up. Otherwise, like it's gonna kind of not be great. Like this friend, like let's for like another example, like she's bisexual and she's like, yeah, I could still see myself ending up with a woman. And I'm like, okay, but you're currently in a relationship with a man. So if that thought that you could still end up with someone that isn't him is rolling around in your brain, like maybe you shouldn't move in together. Like,
or just be dating in general.
Right, exactly.
There can't be those doubts. So it's like, oh yeah, like, but I could still always like go like move in with my friends if this doesn't work. Like I feel like it needs to be like that, like 100% level of dedication. Like, yeah, this is working. Like this is the next step.
I feel conflicted.
No,
I feel like
I agree, because like if you're taking this step, that means you almost know like this is the person, right? You're just trying to see like the last molding of, is it gonna work? Because like, well, that's how it is for me, I guess. Like, you know, like I know everything about her besides like just like living habits, I guess, right? But if you can't handle the living habits, like, then it's not gonna work. I've
always
the old fashioned way of just like getting married and then like doing is ass backwards.
Yeah, I agree.
That is why the divorce rate is
a lot
high.
of people can't live together. And so if you don't live together and then you get married and then you realize that there's like things that your partner does in the safety and comfort of their own home that you can't stand.
And you have to do it every day and just live like that.
You've already seen that, right? That's my thing,
No,
right?
Not necessarily.
There's things that people don't like know unless you live with them.
Awesome.
I'm not saying me or I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
There is things that do not get shown in a relationship, no matter how long it is. I'm not saying it's me and her, Rachel, and stuff like that. I'm saying this is what happens to people. They find out things they would have never known unless they live together. But like divorce rates and this and that are so high because people just get married and then see these habits and that, and are like, I can't do this.
I need some examples because go ahead.
Let's say, for example, because I feel like when you move in with someone, that's when you become financially tied together, right?
Sure.
You're depending on them to pay half or however, like if you decide you want like a joint bank account, like things like that, that's when it can get really complicated. Like if you marry someone and you move in together and you sign a lease or you open up a bank account together and then you find out that like they are in a stupid amount of debt, or you can't get a house because they have X lines of credit open that they're super behind on their payments for, or they, I don't know, like let's say they have a dog and they just like let their dog go to the bathroom in the house and you just had no idea, like things like, and those are really extreme examples, but like that wouldn't make itself apparent if you weren't tied together in that like concrete of a way. Like
it's
you,
even
like if I'm just dating someone casually, like I have no idea their spending habits. I don't know how they live in their house when like no one's watching. Like I don't know what their life is truly like until you like solidify your relationship together.
Someone can look like they have all these like nice things in that, but like Rachel said, they could be in debt or like just in general.
Wouldn't you know that before? You would. I feel like you would know.
People can disguise that.
They can't. You can't see. This is.
It's easy to look like you have money, Daisy, when you don't have money. It's not that hard. I'm pretty sure we've all done it like for a long time.
I've told Tess this. And we were having a hypothetical conversation. If I met her now, I'd be able to tell you're broke. The reason being is because I myself have been that broke. So you can't fool somebody who's been that broke, right?
But you're not everybody in the world.
Well, but I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. In my situation, I feel like personally, I would be able to tell if you're a fake friend, right? If you're not who you say you are as a person. Mainly because I have these conversations, right? I mean, y'all speak to me every week, right? Yeah. I'm not afraid to ask the question. It's just the fact, are you going to tell me the truth? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like that's a lot of the times why people feel like they need to move in with people is because you're trying to vet if everything is true, right? You're trying to confirm all the assumptions that you had.
Yeah. So I have a good example.
Okay.
So like my cousin, right, went to school for a very, very long time, has a lot of debt. Had like told her fiance, I couldn't think of the word, that she like has a significant amount of college debt. And he was like, that's okay, you know, don't worry, we'll get married. Our accounts will be together. But like once you're married and you have like your money is together, he is just as liable for that, like all of that. Fact. He didn't know how much student loan she had. She was like, yeah, it's pretty significant. He didn't know the exact amount. And they got married and he was like, what the fuck?
That's
he was like
fault.
blindsided. Because like, but I'm saying like people don't have those conversations. Like you don't know until you together. And Tony
even
becomes
her
like,
saying that is still not really telling him because there was no number. There's no number.
Right.
Significant
Exactly.
amount of debt could be like in your brain, like let's say 30,000, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying like a significant amount could be 30, 50, even like 100. But like
for her,
when
it's
you
like
get blindsided,
it's huge.
right. And you're blindsided like that, like, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
That makes you rethink everything.
Yeah.
Of course, it should. It really should.
Smaller things
That's all
I
I'm
would
saying.
say is like let's say like not eating habits, but like cooking, right? Like I have a friend, like when they first lived together, like he did not know how to cook for himself. Like so he like she like basically had to like teach him like how to like cook again. Like he never did it for himself, basically. He either ate out or like, you know, he would go by his parents and stuff. So I'm saying is like that's another thing. It's like this man can't even cook for himself.
Yeah, or like
So
doesn't
now
know how
I
clean
have
up
to take
after
this
him.
upon like or like laundry, right? Like there's still people that don't know how to do laundry. That's a fact.
I
It's
feel
not a
like
hard thing to do, but people do it for them. Or I'm saying there's little minor things that like, oh, so
that
you're
build
telling
up
me
over time.
right. So you're telling me like for now, even if it's like X amount of time, I have to do laundry, like for both of us. Like that can bother someone.
But I feel like the problem, and I'm gonna just say it straight out. The problem I have with lifting or moving in with your significant other before you're married, right, is nothing. It has nothing to do with like religious things, because you know I know people may think that. I don't like the idea of playing house, right? So you just said it. Like one person has to. If you don't know how to do this, like you would expect the other person to pick up your slack, right? And I get you're a couple, like, but for me, it's like you need to have the conversation.
No, I heard it too.
Sorry. So for me, I'm just like thinking, okay, if we're gonna do these things, how can we like be the best team? It doesn't need to be like one role, right? It doesn't have to be I do this, so you have to do this. Yeah. And that's like the whole idea. A lot of people do this stuff, and like I talk to my brother about this a lot of times, and I even know girls that do this. They move in with a dude, and then immediately after that, they're like you said, they're out shopping. They don't do anything to maintain the home. They're just there because they're basically another roommate. They don't do anything for the home though. Like you're just a roommate who I get to have sex with. And I sleep with every night. Like, you know what I'm saying? You still doing whatever the fuck you want, whether you taking your trips, whether you flying out, whether you're going to dinner with your girls or your guys, you know what I'm saying? But what are you doing to make this a home? Like if it's just, oh, you wanted to decorate it and then have it as a social gathering, why the hell am I here? You could have done that by yourself, right? But don't make this the next step in our evolution as a couple because you want to have the idea of like, oh, we're actually moving and working towards marriage and like this is the next step. That's the only reason why I feel like more and more people make that step because they're like, oh, I have to figure it out. But if you're figuring it out because you actually think you're going to marry this person, or like this is what's going to let you know that like if it's going to work or not. That's like my problem. And I said the same thing, but they have different interpretations, right? When you really think you're going to marry somebody, there's a lot you would deal with because you're willing to work with that person. But if you're not, and you're just doing this because you want to see if it could potentially become better, and then you could be like, oh, now I know I'm going to marry this person. Yeah. Completely different. Like you're working to something as opposed to, okay, this is already the goal. How do we get to it? And that's like my biggest thing. And I would just be like, that's where I'm like, not for me. But you know, I also feel like I'm not going to get married till I'm like 35, 40, but that's another thing, but I don't have to talk about that. Just don't listen to this part. You know, skip. What's the
You already said it. You already said it.
I could say, hey, if it gets to this marker, do not listen. Tess. Honestly, that's all I have to say. I'm not saying that it can't happen.
I think for you, if you were with Tess, it ain't gonna be then. It's not gonna be 40 when you get married. I'll tell you that right now.
You know, I'm a pretty convincing guy. I'm pretty
Yeah,
convinced.
you're convincing, but
You
love
forget
doesn't
that we
mean
know
you're
this.
convinced.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Also,
You both.
love is love, Deji.
Wait. I'm not saying that love is not love. Love is love, and love is a beautiful thing. I said I love the feeling of love.
but no,
I love
but
the whole idea
I
of
agree.
love.
I agree with what you're saying, that like you can't just take that next step like hoping it'll work or like hoping it'll
Yeah.
convince you. You can't go in, you can't move in with someone unsure. Like there can't be any doubt in your mind that like this is like the next step. Like I don't think there can be or should be really any doubts. Like, you know what, we've been struggling lately. Like, let's move in together. We'll spend the extra time together. We'll see if we can make it work. No, that's not.
That's like when people are like, you know what? I know what will make us happy. Let's have a baby.
But people do that.
Yeah.
Because baby brings happiness.
Babies bring happiness when everybody else takes care of them. But when you the mom or the dad and you waking up at 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning and they throwing up on you and they spitting on you. Hey, I love my niece and nephew, but the moment they spat on me, I wiped it off and I gave it to their damn mama. After that, that's you're not my responsibility. Yep. You cute until you're not cute. You know what I'm saying?
It's
I'm
not
not
my job. That's what I always say. This is not my job.
Well, then here's another thing that we can talk about, because someone is currently going through it and people have gone through it in the past. Long distance relationships.
Sure.
They're fucking
Yeah, Rachel, you actually went through it. You went through it. Oh, wow. You went through it first. So how did you feel while you were going through it?
So I went through it twice in 2 different relationships. And they were very different, because the first time, looking back on it, like while I was in it, I was like, I didn't think it was great, but looking back on it, I'm like, I was trying everything to fucking save this relationship that was already doomed to fail. It was very obvious to me now, and even at the time, I think I was just in denial and just didn't want it to end. But it was very obvious that I was really the only one who wanted it to work. So that was a really hard pill to swallow. I found myself doing and saying things that I am very upset with myself for. I didn't really know my self-worth. I was like, hey, we're not like Facebook official. Do you think like we could do that? Because I thought he was cheating on me. Like, whoa, Rachel, like that's not okay. Like it was like things like that. Like I would do everything. So whenever I was home, I would try and spend as much time with him as I possibly could. But in the 10 months that I lived 5 hours away, I saw him. He came to see me twice. Like I would put in the effort, but it wasn't being reciprocated. And that now was very obvious to me, like it was doomed to fail. It wasn't going to work. But the next relationship, so Cody and I started dating in July, like mid-July. I had to leave to go back to school mid-August. So we were only together a month before I moved 5 hours away. We were still very new and we weren't sure if it was going to work. But at this point, like we somehow both just knew that like this was going to be it. And so we did like everything in our power to make it work. We were constantly texting and talking on the phone and FaceTiming and Skyping. And we saw each other. I think the max amount of time we ever went without seeing each other was maybe like 5 or 6 weeks. I would come home, he would come like to Iowa. We would see each other constantly. Like it was very obvious that like I wanted it to work and he also wanted it to work. So we made it work. But I think that's a thing that's kind of like probably a hard pill for people to swallow who are in long distance relationships. It's very obvious if both of you want it to work, because you'll really put in like the dedication and communication that you need to make it work. And if one person isn't, there's a reason for it. And that's a super hard pill to swallow. And I didn't. I drew it out for however long. And then the second I moved home, we broke up. Like it clearly wasn't working. I just didn't admit to myself that it wasn't working.
I have one more disclaimer. Tess, do not listen to this part, please.
She's gonna listen to the whole thing.
Jokes. She's here right now, so she's. But I was just gonna say, to your point, you're absolutely right, Rachel. There's really no in between. That's why I said, damn it.
You are absolutely right, Rachel. I would never do nothing like that.
Oh God, I can't even refute that. Honestly, God, the only thing I'll say is, I'll say this. I feel like one thing that I've realized, and obviously there's so many new things, nuances, with COVID and everything. I'm just gonna say it. The fact that I traveled in the midst of a pandemic, and I was by several people of the white race, Caucasoids, or whatever you want to call them. And they were coughing and they didn't have the mask on and they kept putting it on and off and they were eating and drinking. You know, I just wanted to say, I'm a good man, you know? I'm a good man. I'm a good man. I am risking life, limb, and everybody who knows me, I have never left the house until this moment.
That's also a lie.
Austin, you're ruining the story. I'm
not ruining the story. Don't lie to the people.
Disregard what this man is saying. Honest to God.
I never left my house.
I have never in my life, Austin. I have never in my life seen you act like this. Okay, sir? All I want to
just lie to the American people's faces.
I did lie. It's called withholding the truth. I was just gonna say straight up. I was just gonna say, it's harder to see the person now. Obviously, with everything going on, but in general, to Rachel's point, she's exactly right. I can't refute that. You just have to. I feel like the one thing with long distance relationships is you quickly understand that, like, yeah, communication is the only thing that makes relationship work. No ass.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
When you did this in college, though, obviously this is a longer distance, but what is the difference now? Besides the distance for you?
For me?
With the same person, like different times. I'm saying because it was still long distance. So
correct. Yeah,
and we were in college. So I just wanted to know what you think the difference is. Besides like the actual distance, I'm saying.
Yeah. I completely understand. A lot of it is maturity. I will have to say I've become more and more understanding. I used to be a hard ass. Like I used to be like, swerve.
Right. You're still a hard ass. Did that change?
It's lessened. It's lessened a lot. I'm a lot. It's lessened. So, you know, I'm more understanding. Like I understand that, like, you know, people need a minute. I'm just gonna say it. Now I just say it, but I say it because I know you need to hear it. I don't really care.
Understanding?
See what I'm saying? I say it because it needs to be said. I don't say it because I expect a response right away. Okay. No, I think it's just maturity on both parts. And then secondly, you just understand. I mean, there's so much more you understand when you're older. I still am the same laid back person, but I don't overreact about nonsense. You know, I'll say this. I'll say this. First time around, it was more like I was trying to get Tess to, I don't want to say act a certain way, but like I feel like I was trying to push her to be somebody that she wanted to be, but she wasn't ready to be. And this part, I'm actively more of a participant, right? So I'm just like, all right, let's talk through this. Let's work through this. A lot of the times the biggest one is like finance. She's like, I don't want to talk about this right now, Daisy. And I'll be like, fine, that's cool. But we have to revisit this because you have to get this stuff settled, right? So it's just me understanding more that, like, damn, son, you can't push, like, imagine if somebody was trying to push me to be this person I am at 26 when I was 21. Obviously, I'm going to fight that. I'm going to be like, shut the hell up. I'm going to do whatever I want. But you're still going to, yeah, of course. And I got here, right? But I'm saying now
I know what you're saying.
Now I'm not trying to be like, all right, just do that shit. Because before a lot of times when people say some shit, I'll be like, bro, just do this, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving you the answers. You don't even have to fight it. But now I'm like, all right, I understand you have to figure it out, but I'm gonna give you my perspective. That's what I do. I give my perspective, but I understand that everybody has their own life to live. Yeah. And then you just accept. You just trying to talk through. You just talk through them with it, because they just want confirmation. They don't necessarily want to be told what to do. They just want, what do they call it? Reaffirmation. Like when somebody reaffirms your purchase, that's what somebody wants when they come. Yes, because I'm not doing anything. She's doing it, right? So if she comes to me and it's a success, I'm like, good job. But if it's not, it's like, it's all right, you get it next time. This is what we're gonna do. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I call it. I tell Tess all the time. This is my grown man phase. There's so many things that I'm learning and I'm experiencing, and I'm loving life, because being a grown man is so much different from being a little boy or a young man. This is different.
A little boy.
But I mean, like, and the other thing, like the only thing besides communication, the only thing that will make a long distance relationship work is trust.
Yeah.
Like, especially in new relationships or in younger relationships, I feel like a lot of like the freshman year college long distance, like you're still with your high school significant other and you go away to college, like the reason those relationships usually don't work is because there's no trust. Like if they try and say like, hey, like, who are you going out with tonight? And you say like a guy's name or something, and they're like, oh, I don't want you to hang out with him. Or there's that doubt in your mind, like, I don't like, this is my favorite line that I've heard from other friends that my ex-boyfriend told me, that I told him, like, it's not that I don't trust you, it's that I don't trust this person.
Hey man,
like,
I'm just being honest.
Was said so many times, like, that doesn't matter. Like, that person could try to make out with or fuck or this, that, or the other, the person you're with. You just have to trust that the person you're with is going to make the right decision and that they're going to tell you. Like, that's total. And that was what was another totally different thing between, the two relationships that I was long distance with. I didn't trust a single person around my ex-boyfriend, but it comes out to it, I just didn't trust my ex-boyfriend. And he apparently didn't trust me. Like, it's just like, you can't make a long distance relationship work if you don't have trust, because you also have to trust that they're going to be communicative with you about things that are going on and things that are upsetting them, because you're not going to see them all the time. You're not going to see that something you said upset them this moment. Like, you're going to have to trust, like, if there is an issue, that they're going to have to come to you and talk about it. Otherwise, it's just never going to get resolved.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I can. I really can't.
I agree.
I really try to talk my way out of it, but there's really, when our argument is without holes, it's kind of hard to find the weak points, and
Yeah.
I'm just tell Tess not to listen to this episode.
Yeah. Oh my God. Stop. But for me, let's see. I had a long distance relationship when I was in college too. And that was, it all came down to trust, like you said. Honestly, that was the biggest, that was the hardest thing. It was like when I, was home for the summer or whatever, it was fine, but like, obviously when I was gone, it's just like high school. You're like, when you're with someone and you live in the same town, and then you leave, the person, like both of you feel like you're like, you know what I mean? It's so different. So it's just a trust thing. Yeah, I mean, looking back on that, that was a shit show. But I would say that it's on both parties, because like at the end of the day, like it's not all on one person. Like I'm not perfect either, like a perfect person. So I can't blame someone for all mistakes that happen. But it just that relationship was just like failure from the start. It was always going to be.
Yeah, Austin, I know why, right? Because it was a relationship that was made on lust. You feel me? That's what it was. There was no foundation. Y'all just like doing the dirty and the nasty and that's what y'all did. That was what y'all stayed in that lane doing. You got in where you fit in. And then after that, it was like, all right, we can kind of have a friendship.
You're too much.
Sometimes,
too much.
just a little bit.
Listen, well, I did have enjoyed myself with the girlfriend at the time. It wasn't always bad. Like, we did stuff together. We did a lot of things together. But yes, when I went to college, it fell apart because of the trust. That's like a big thing. Because I think also, and Deji can relate to this, but like dating someone younger and long distance is also another factor.
Terrible mistake.
I would put that someone, even if it's a year or two, like me and Deji there's one point where we're both doing this, we're both dating people that were younger than us, and they're just behind on the experience. High school to going to college by yourself, you learn so much, not only by yourself, but just life, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not just staying in Streamwood or wherever in Illinois. So like, we're just so much ahead at that point. It's just two different pages no matter what. So that's why I always say it's like, it's almost like set up for failure because your mindsets are in two different spots, no matter what.
You bring up a very good point.
Were you thinking about if she was younger, Rachel?
Yeah, I was trying to remember who.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
I can't remember, so I'm about to text you because I can't remember for the life of me who it was.
Oh, I know.
Don't say it.
I'm not going to. We don't say
We'll
local legends' names. We don't say local legends' names on this podcast.
We've never said a local legend's name on this podcast.
No.
We have not. We protect.
I mean, she definitely would be though. I have lots of stories, man.
We protect all identities at all costs. Like y'all.
Deji knows the wildest one of all time.
Yeah, identity is
like I'm just cycling through all of the people that I know Austin has talked to or been in a thing with, and I just can't pinpoint who it was at that point in time.
I mean, we have stories, but that's all I have to say about that. But Austin, you bring up a very
I'm better
point.
from it. You know why? Because you grow. Along this relationship that doesn't work, you grow.
But Austin,
you learn so many things from those. What?
Question. So you said something, but it's just like who you are as a person. Like you're pretty much you try to be a very like worldly person, right? You try to gain all the experiences you can so you can kind of understand every walk of life. I feel like a lot of the times when you were in those relationships and you were struggling, that was like the main reason. The point you pointed out, like, all right, I lived all this life and you're trying to get me to come down to where you are. I'm not doing that. Like, so you're trying to like bring that person up, but like you can't do that. And I feel like that was so much energy wasted on your part.
Because they need to experience it on their own. But like we already did that experience.
Exactly.
So it's frustrating. Yeah. You're just frustrated because they're just going, like they're starting to be like, oh, like going out, like doing this or like, you know what I mean? Like doing those things we do. And like arguments start because you're not excited for those new experiences with them because you really have been in it. Like you've been doing it. So then that's where it's like all brand new to them, but to you, it's like.
Because even just like the experience of like going out in college was so different. Like high school, going out was just going to someone else's house and drinking. Whereas going out in college is going to frat parties or going out to bars for the first time and like different experiences. Like if you're going to like sorority or fraternity, like events, like barn parties and shit like that. That's way different than like just going to a friend's house to drink in high school.
Yeah. Right. Because even like I hate to say this, but like the year I turned 21 and I came back home and I basically lived in Chicago for the whole entire summer and I would be staying up to like 5 o'clock in the morning, going to different nightclubs and getting all these like bottle service and blah, 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 just because my friends knew people. To go back to Wisconsin and go to you're like, this is stupid. Like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? And you're not doing it to brag. You're just like, I was experiencing something better. Right. Like I was, you know what I'm saying? Because you kind of like, I look at my like 21, I look at that and I'm like, damn, I was really doing like a lot of different stuff. And then I'm getting into my nostalgia back because I'm coming full circle, right? As you get older, right? It's like this person who is younger than you, or you're in a relationship, right? Everything is a new experience. Because I was thinking about it. I was going to bring this back. It's a new experience, but you moving in is also a new experience because there's going to be a whole bunch of firsts that you're going to have to look back to as you're moving in. But the thing is, when you're living with somebody, you kind of like, and that's I guess what I'm bringing this full circle is because Austin talking about the experience made a point in my head. When you move in with that special somebody that you're ready to take it to the next level, you only want to remember that moment. I don't care I don't care like what happens after or before, but you're never going to get another first experience of living with your significant other.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, this is such a mindful and like, it's a very purposeful thing. And when people don't think about it that way, it almost ruins the experience.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're on two different pages, I just want to say I brought that shit full circle. But when you're on two different pages, you're doomed to fail. So can we, Royalty?
And like,
I know, Royalty, can you clap for me?
Oh my God.
I want all the snaps because that shit was.
You're not no poet.
but
That
like
wasn't. I don't want to be.
Another thing about like living with someone is like, you, as much as you may think you're being like your fullest self and like you're not hiding any part of you, like you truly, when you move in with someone, you can't hide a single part of you anymore. Like if you have a really bad day and you just want to go home and sleep, when you go home, you're not just going home to your bed, you're going home to that other person. So like when you're having those really, really terrible days too, that normally you might try and not hide from your person, but you wouldn't normally like fully share that whole experience with them, it's hard because like we were talking about, and we'll move on to this, but we were talking about love languages, and like one of mine is physical touch. But there are also times when I want to be the left of fight, like don't touch me, don't hug me. Like if I'm having a bad day, the last thing I want to do is be hugged by someone. So it's like trying to navigate like those moments too, when you're also at your worst, now with your significant other being there constantly. Like, especially if you're someone who just likes to be alone a lot, your alone isn't really alone anymore. And you have to like really fully understand that before you can move in with someone. Like there were times when Cody and I first moved in together, and like that whole year I was not doing well. I was really depressed. My anxiety was terrible. I would sleep for like 14 hours a day. I would go to work, come home, go to bed. Like, but he was there. And somehow like there's still days like to this date that I like look at Cody, I'm like, I don't know how you stuck with me through that. Like that was the worst I've ever been in my entire life. Like the fact that you are still here like blows my mind. Like you have to be ready for all of the ugly. Like you won't really think that there will be like that much that goes wrong, but like anything that can go wrong could, and you have to be prepared to deal with that with your significant other. Like there's no hiding anymore.
I agree. I like being alone too when things are bad. So I
feel like that's going to be the toughest part for me because I'm a man who enjoys his solitude.
And that's why I got a 2-bedroom. Yeah. And I just go into my little space of just by myself.
Yeah. You need it, you know. Sometimes I just want to play video games for 5 hours, you know, and not think about life, you know, or read a book. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I do. Just try to like escape everything. It's like, you know, watch a movie or a show or play a game or something, like by yourself though, just like
binge anime. That's always a good one.
Yeah. So like part of kind of
Stop hating on it.
Being in a successful relationship is being able to reciprocate love languages, people.
I want to know your love language. I know y'all know that. I put a poll out there for the royalty. Kaylani, Janae Aiko, which one? That's what I'm singing. That one was Kaylani though. I want to know your love language.
He ain't Kaylani. You don't look like Kaylani either.
First of all, I don't want to. I just know I got vocals. The royalty said I can sing. You heard it? I can sing just a little bit.
Anyway.
They were feeling sorry for you.
Don't know. There are 5 love languages.
Hater.
5 love languages. They are quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, and giving/receiving gifts. And I put a post, an Insta story out there for what people wanted us to talk about when we talk about relationships. And one of them is reciprocating love languages. Because rarely are you actually going to end up with someone who has the same love language as you.
Big fact.
That can be very difficult, especially in rougher times when you're struggling or you're going through something. What you want and what you need might not be the first thing that your partner goes to do because your love languages are different. So like me, my primary love language is quality time. Like even if we're not talking to each other, I just want to sit next to you. I just want to be near you. If I'm working, you're working, I'm on my phone, you're playing your video games, I just want to be near you. Like I want to spend that time with you. Whereas like Cody's primary love language is like gifts. So like that doesn't always work out. Like sometimes I just want to spend time with him, whereas he's like, oh yeah, here's flowers that I got you because I thought of you today. And then he like goes off and like does something. And I'm like, that's nice. Not what I needed. Not what I needed.
Oh my God.
And it sounds like I'm ungrateful, but like I retook the love language quiz today. It's like 5lovelanguages.com or something. You can find it rates the percentages of all of the love languages for you. My receiving gifts love language was 3%. That is the last thing that I need. I need all
Rachel
of those
hates gifts.
before
don't even think about giving her.
No, I just want to hold your hand. That's all I need. But no, it's hard when like that's his primary love language is like showing his love and affection through like gifts, and I'm like,
okay, okay.
But like spend time with me. Like that's what I like. My top 3 were actually all very close. I think I was like 26% quality time, and then I was like 29% quality time, and then 26% between 2 of words of affirmation and physical touch. Gotcha. So like those are my 3. Like I just like being held, even if I'm just sitting next to you, like on my phone. Like I like being close with people. But there are also times, like I mentioned earlier, that I don't want to be touched. And like that, I don't always express that in the healthiest way. Sorry, Mom. Like I remember the first time that it was really apparent to me that like sometimes your love language can change based on the situation that you're in, because I really like quality time and physical touch. But like I remember I was at like my uncle's funeral or something, and it was just a really stressful time for the entire family. Like obviously someone died, so it wasn't great, but it was already an overcomplicated situation. But my mom's love language in those moments are physical touch. And so she kept trying to like hug me and touch me and comfort me. And I like freaked out on her. And I was like, you need to leave me the fuck alone. Like, don't touch me. And that did not go well. So learning how to communicate what you need in certain moments, whether it be your love language or just like the comfort that you need, is like really important, because you can lash out at the people that you care about because they're just trying to use their love language when it's not the one that you need in that moment. So sorry, Barb. Still feel bad.
Sorry, Barb.
Sorry, Barb. I'm just saying, I don't know what Rachel did, but sorry, Barb.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So how do you what are your love languages, and what do you think your partners are? Like, how do you navigate like those situations when like what you need isn't what they immediately go to do or to like offer to you?
Mine are, but they're not close. Like I think like every other love language besides the one that I have is like maybe like 5 to 10%. But the first one is acts of service. I'm a very big action-oriented person. So for me, as long as you do stuff to show me that you care, don't really care about presents, I'm good. But touch, love of affirmation, words of affirmation. I suck at words of affirmation because I'm still trying to get better my damn self. So what you want me to say? Oh, you're doing a good job. Bro, I feel like, and I know why I'm bad at it. It's because I'm such a I'm like a lovable person, but I'm a very harsh speaker. So sometimes I'll be like, you'll be all right. You'll get your shit together. You'll bounce back. I feel like that's words of affirmation.
People don't want to hear that, Daisy.
I'm saying.
I just want to let you know.
obviously.
You don't even say the truth in a nice way. You're fine. Pat on the
You
back.
good.
Get back out there.
You Gucci? Yeah, you know that. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's the affirmation. You know you good. You got it. You know you bounce back. You're still living to see the next day. I feel like those are words of affirmation. But you know, I'm not getting that. Tess not letting that fly. So I have to. She has to.
I'm not any better, but I know that's not words of affirmation. I know that. Well, mine, my top one is active services too. Yeah, I just like to see like just, you know, showing that you care in some way or another by like doing things like Daisy said. But I also like gifts was like close. So like I like receiving gifts because I think it's good, you know, like showing as well. It goes in the acts of service, like showing something that you care. But I also enjoy like giving people gifts myself. So like I think like to me, like if I buy someone something and like the enjoyment of them being like this is awesome and stuff, like I really like that. It makes me feel good, essentially. Essentially, it makes me feel good seeing people happy with something that I bought them, because I think in my head, well, if I get them this gift, like this will definitely be good, like make everyone happy. So but Kate's is definitely words of affirmation for sure. I'm not any better at it, but I definitely don't just say, get out there, kid. You're doing great. But I'm not any better because the two that I have aren't even close to what she has words of affirmation. I'm pretty sure it's like, I think it's like touch or like spending time. It's like Rachel's. It's like she just like if I want to watch or play games or whatever, she just like likes being in the vicinity, like no matter what, and I don't like that. So like it's a hard balance because I'm always like you know, I'm gonna like I kind of want to like play games today and just like chill or something. Like I don't want to do anything, and then she'll be like, that's fine, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm like, okay. So you want me to play my game while you sit here? Because then I feel bad, because then I'm like, so you like, because it's not like we're hanging out, so it's like that balance. I feel bad because she doesn't care as long as she's just like here.
Yeah.
But in my brain, like if I'm playing a game or something, I go into my own thing. Like then I feel bad because I'm like, I'm showing no attention.
Yeah.
Because that's not on my mind. Like that's my escape. So like it's two different things all the time. So, but I mean, it's gotten better. Like me and her, like if I want to do that, I tell her beforehand, like more times than not. I'm like, hey, I'm probably going to want to do this today just because of whatever. So I tell her like, you can stay here if you want to bring like a book or something, if that's what you choose to do, or you can like, you know, go home when we're done hanging out or whatever we were doing. Yeah. Or like when we are out or something, it's like, I kind of want to go home and do this. So then it's kind of like the option instead of like just feeling bad because I want to do this thing and then I can't. Well, I can, but I feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, having similar love languages to Kate, I think like something that occurs to us that might not necessarily like occur to you is that like it's a very almost like, I don't know if intimate is the right word. It's a very like reassuring thing, and like it gives you confidence in your relationship, knowing like I am so happy sitting here in this moment, even near you, knowing that you're doing something that makes you happy and I'm doing something that makes me happy. Like the fact that we can just be in each other's vicinity doing our own thing but still feel connected is like such a cool like intimate thing that I think can be like overlooked, because like you said, like there are times like Cody feels the same way. He's like, I feel bad, I'm playing games and you're just sitting on your phone, like we're not actually doing anything together. It's like, oh, we're still spending time together. Like you're doing what you like and I'm doing what I like, and we're just doing the things that we like together. Like, that's a cool thing to do. Like, I'm so happy in this moment right now. And like, that's just something, like, that's not one of his love languages, so he doesn't fully understand it. But like,
Right.
even if you are like playing Xbox Live, you have your headset on, you're not even talking to her, like, that's making her happy. Not all the time. I'm saying, like, don't ignore her and do that fucking constantly, because that'll make her lose her. But like, it's like a next level of like comfort and intimacy to be able to like not even really acknowledge each other, but just be in each other's vicinity and feel like comfort.
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's definitely gotten better, but yeah, it's the same thing. Like, it doesn't make sense to me half the time, but I get what you're saying. She has explained it to me like that as well, but it doesn't, my brain doesn't work like that. It's always like, to like, oh, this is like, I always feel bad. That's like what happens. The conclusion comes to like, I feel like I've just wasted time spent with you because I am playing games, but you're doing something you like. But to her, like you said, it's fine, like, because you're just together but doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I get it.
I'm on that wave.
I get it. Like, I get it, but I don't get it, if that makes sense. It's just like not how it works, but I get the concept. I do. I told her I understand. I'm still gonna feel bad though.
Yeah.
I think that's just who you are as a person, though. So I mean, I get that.
Yeah. I feel bad about everything.
Yeah, me, I brush it off and be like, all right, well, what happens next? You know, it's just to each his own, man.
But going on to another topic that was suggested by a royalty, it kind of comes in this. So like, how do you, and you guys have experienced this living together in college, how do you help an emotional friend fresh off a breakup?
You can't. No, I'm playing. No, I think you just
I think you just be there for them, but it's hard because they're never in the right mindset. Like, you can like be like, hey, you know, maybe they want to hang out more, right? Or do stuff like that, but like they're still not in the right mindset to be doing those things either. So it's kind of hard balance.
It depends.
No, like hanging out is fine. I'm talking about like, you know, like, oh, we should like go out. Like, I don't have to work tomorrow, or I don't have to do this.
That's what we did.
Yeah, but it was not good for us.
What do you mean it wasn't good for us?
Really? Do we need to bring up what I already talked about probably in 2 episodes ago, something like that?
What do you mean? I felt like it got me out my breath, bro.
You wanted to go out and party all the time, but you're also a menace to live with. You didn't want to talk to nobody. You just sat in the dark. You went to school, and then you wanted to party all night. That's not good. That's not good for anybody.
It's fine, Austin. I got it out. I got my demons out. That's all I needed at the time, bro.
At what cost, AG?
Well, I still got a really
cost. Was it worth it?
Yes, I got a great GPA. I mean, I was having the time of my life. I mean,
I think that the actions you took, looking back on it, was not ideal. I'm not bringing up anything that happened. I am saying from being there, right? But she's asking how to go through it, and I think the way of that is not good. Like, just you're ignoring your feelings.
Sure.
Right? You're trying not to think or remember the feeling, right? But that's not good. You just make stupid decisions.
Sure.
Or you make regrettable things in general. Like, it's just, I mean, they make movies about this scenario here.
Of course.
So,
what I probably did was very much in a movie.
You be there for the person, but you also don't fall for their antics either.
Yeah, I feel like I could have had more productive things. You know, like the partying was cool until it wasn't cool. Like, I wish I would have had more activities. But, you know, what else? I have an agreement with Austin. I also like the good jokes, so maybe if you guys would have laughed, but
how could we laugh? How could we?
I mean, Austin,
The living room's pitch black. You have your hood up. You
First
don't
of
want
all-
to talk to nobody.
First of all, it was
How
never that.
could
It
we
was,
laugh in a scenario where things were
it
just
was
so
never
sad?
it was never that bad. It was never that bad. You ever that
How
bad.
could you? You were
But
mean to
Austin,
everybody.
well, if you could
Even
give me a good
Logs
joke.
was not happy, and that guy's never not happy.
First of all, the jokes that you were throwing my way. I mean, you know, White Comey only does so much to so little for me.
Oh God, here we go. Back to the white comedy again.
I'm just saying, Austin J. I mean, sometimes the jokes that you throw in there, you know, it's just like it's like you're throwing at the dartboard and you're just completely missing. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I made it through. We stronger. We better. I'm blacker than ever. You know, so peace up, A-Town down. You feel me?
What the?
You're not even from Atlanta. I just want to let you know that.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Okay.
I don't know. Isn't that what The Rock says?
I don't think that's what The Rock says.
It doesn't matter what you're
Then-
cooking with.
No, that's
No,
not
like,
what
but, like,
The Rock said.
Going from that to like helping your friend emotionally, what is the proper like wingman etiquette?
I thought this was a really good question.
Getting them back
Um,
out there. I don't know what to do. Like I
I
don't,
thought-
Etiquette?
yeah.
you-
Like I've never really been. This is gonna sound shitty. I've
You,
never really been like this. I've never been the single friend.
you be
I don't know
there
how to,
until
like,
you don't need to be
help
there.
get people for friends.
Oh, are we trying to get them? Are we trying to get
You're
them
helping your
laid?
friend talk to somebody?
Yeah, like helping you, like you're the wingman
Yeah.
for your friend. Like I've
So-
never had to do that. Well, I've never been.
Like,
So I don't know
You're
how. To
there. You're there until you don't need to be there. You help with the conversation and make it flow into a point where you don't need to be there anymore.
Yeah.
What
It's
is
not
your-
about you in that group, right?
Okay.
It's about those two talking already. So
Mhm.
I think a good wingman is helping out initiate the conversation.
Yeah.
Contact and conversation. Like you like I guess I don't know how to explain it that great, but basically like if there's a girl or whatever, guy or girl that you want to talk to, I feel like in a group setting, whether like say it's two of us, you so happen to like help with the conversation, make it flow until it turned into those two people like just talking to each other.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Kind
no,
of.
I mean it makes sense. I'm just like I'm not good at it because I don't.
I'm not
know-
good at it, but I just know how
how-
it works.
Yeah, like I've never been on
I'm
like
trying to see.
the receiving end of a wingman or wingwoman, so I don't know what to do.
I don't know if I've ever done it.
Kind of like
I feel like
online dating, like apps and stuff. Like how do you?
It's
help
not. I guess it's kind of like help hyping your friend up, but also helping the conversation go along. I would say.
I'm trying to think if
Because,
I've ever
like,
been a wingman. Oh yeah. Oh, I've definitely been a wingman. Yeah, it's just about. It's
Yeah,
just
we
about,
have local
I'm-
legends.
You're right, local legend. Anyways, gonna tell the story.
You have been a wingman plenty of times.
yes. So now that I think about it, you're right, Austin. Being a woman, let me just break it down real simple. The first thing is to basically make the girl laugh.
That's
That's
what
like
I
the
was
number
gonna say.
Number one thing,
It's key
right?
to
So
a good conversation.
initially, right? Initially, and the difference in being a wingman as opposed to trying to get the girl is that as a wingman, you're doing the majority of the talking. So you say hello, you whatever works, right? You crack a joke, you start talking yada yada. You'd be like, oh, such and such. I'm trying to think of a scenario. I've done it so many different ways, but what happened?
You're having the conversation to get her engaged for your friend.
Correct.
And then that person comes in and she's already like laughing, having a good time, ready to conversate with that person because now she knows you all are a good time. Oh,
right.
You got friends that are a good time. That must mean he's a good time. I will
Perfect.
engage with that person as well. And then you slowly exit the conversation Like you
And
let
go on
it
and go.
die down to where it's just them.
Yep.
And then you leave into the darkness. You're
Have
gone.
I'm glad.
Have you ever experienced like a wing woman?
Like girls coming to you like that?
Yeah, like trying to help
Yeah.
them. What
Yeah.
has worked and what hasn't worked? Because I can't talk to it.
Well, first of all, girls never lead off with like laughing.
Okay.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They're
They're
more
very
straight
awkward.
up. They're like,
Yeah.
so like, basically just ask for your name and kind of like, hey, yo, my friend over there. You take a peek, and at that very moment, you decide yes or no. There's no conversation, like because all she wants to know is if you would be interested in talking to her friend. It's not like the guy's way, because it's a lot harder to talk to females in that setting because they already have people trying to hit on them depending on the situation.
I also feel like girls don't use wing women nowadays because a lot of women are on this woman empowerment trip, so they just kind of attack you in general.
Usually, like it's literally just a friend like asking, like, "Yo,
yeah, exactly.
This girl I'm with thinks you're cute. Do you think It's basically like, would you be interested?" And even
Does
just
that
talking
work?
to her.
Yes, it always works.
Because it's more straight up front, but like usually you make the decision on even if you want to talk to the person right there, though. It's not like it's not even sometimes I feel like it doesn't even get to the point of talking to the person, depending on how it is. But it's so straightforward. There's not a lot of work put in.
That's why I love the whole women empowerment wave, right? That's why I keep saying it. Women, they're either gonna say what's good or they're gonna just act upon it.
They're gonna keep it moving.
As a man, it's just your job to receive it. Whether that's somebody buying you a drink and then
because
you
think about this,
away.
Most women, like in a bar setting or whatever, people are trying to talk. A lot of people try talking to you. It's who really gets your attention, whether it be comedy or something, to bring you to be engaged, right? But girls, when they come over to you, already have one thing in mind, like, I want to talk to that cute guy. So then it's so straightforward. You don't have to do all the hard work. Because now you're already talking to the main person. Like, you tell them, yeah, like I'll talk to them. So it's 2 seconds. You're already engaged.
Yeah, I was gonna say along those lines. But honestly, it's really not that hard because if somebody finds you attractive, they tell you right away why the way they're looking at you, body language, all that other stuff.
It's just
you don't have
a shorter process with girls.
Exactly. Because girls, when they think a guy is cute, it's really obvious.
It's straightforward, like we said. You don't have to there's no work involved. There's no work. Just straight, like, my friend thinks you're hot. Okay, bring her over. Then you talk. That's how it goes usually. If they're in those circumstances, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But for guys, it's a lot difficult because, like I said, depending on the situation, the female, they probably got hit on already a couple of times.
Has that changed in like the last few years?
No.
Well, we haven't been able to go out for the whole year.
I mean, I know that, but like, I mean, since you were like, but you mean like since you were in like
obviously
college
to like older?
Yeah.
No.
I think college was. I don't know. I think college, the guy could be more straightforward. I think.
Yeah, just because you're in college.
Because it's college, right? So like at the end of the day, for college kids, essentially there's only one thing in mind, right? So like most of the time you get to the point after a certain amount of talking. It's like hey, people know their intentions.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like when you're out of college, there's more that needs to go into it, like for guys talking to girls and wingman and that. Because in college, if you think about college interactions, right, whether it be a guy or someone helping them, both of you know at the end of the day, there's one intention. There's not like like a possible like to go like a date or something like that. Most of the time, it's one thing. Yeah. So, it's a lot different.
When you're older, it's really just about how good are you at closing the deal. So like,
Right.
I feel like
But
girls
there's
are
more
like,
than just the one. Most of like it's not always just that intention.
of course, because
Sometimes
girls
it's
would be
just
like,
about getting the number.
right, getting the number, maybe taking the girl out on a date. If you're, I mean, I'm speaking as if I'm a guy, you know what I'm saying? Trying to see her maybe in the daylight because, you know, girls at the club be looking way different than they do in the daylight.
It's not always just about the one thing. That's what I
Correct.
think the big difference is.
Okay. Do you think it was the same in high school?
Well, high school, we met most of the girls at house parties. So the point,
Well, you already like
I
knew
think
them, right?
you knew them, but
Most of the girls, I would say that's different. There never was a wingman involved, right? Because most of
also
the
I was a
time,
different person. I was a different person in high school. I was very much a jokester.
forget about who you were.
We know.
But that's how
like,
I talk to people. So I talk to
but
people through
you
jokes.
didn't need a wingman in high school, right? Because for the most part, everyone knew everybody.
yeah.
Correct.
So it wasn't about getting to know that person. It was about like actually having a conversation because you know someone from
Or if they
he
thought
or
you were
she
cute.
say, right? Or they think you're cute and you know things
exactly.
about them, but you've never had
Mhm.
the conversation.
Yeah.
Now you are now like you're talking, but do you really know you know what I mean? Like how good are you at talking at that point?
Yeah.
Because you both know who you are. You go to the same school. We know you play certain things. We know certain things about you, but not everything. So I think in high school it's just about talking.
And then it's just it's really if you're, I feel like it's super easy. It's really if you're attractive and it's if you're good at sports. And well, actually, if you have clout, because, you know, in Streamwood High School, if you didn't play sports, you were either selling drugs or you were doing some other you were doing some other sort of trapping, like you were doing something else.
I feel like
those things
school,
alone got you laid.
I think like just like a certain like how you present yourself, like just on the outside. I would say
the friend group you were in almost predetermined you're like who you would be.
Oh yeah,
I would say like if you were going like in high schoolers, not just us, but I feel like there's always like your cliques or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you're seeing someone at like all these like house parties or this and that, you already know that like, all right, like this guy is cool. Like he hangs out with good looking people that are good at sports. I see him as a good looking person who's good at sports. I know, you know what I mean? And then there's almost like, it's just like, I guess talking from there, but like Deji said, it is about that. High school, it is about looks.
Yes. When I'll say it like this. If you were a man in high school or a male in high school, if you hung around good looking people, it automatically made you look good. I can't say the same for women. I'm not going to speak on that, but that's not my portion. I'm just going to say, if you hung around a group of good looking guys and y'all did whatever y'all did, I don't care if y'all did sports, if y'all was really trapping in these streets, I don't care if y'all even told jokes. That in essence got you to the girls who mess with that circle. In my understanding of Streamwood High School as an ecosystem, that's kind of how it works.
But I also think
then you had
we
the
always
unicorn.
say this, but
I was the unicorn.
High school is so much different.
Of course, but I was the unicorn because I could transcend multiple cliques, you know. Because when you have,
I think a lot of us could, Deji.
Yeah.
Because
we didn't hang out with the same people every day. I'm not saying people didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there's a good amount of people. I understand your joke. I was saying that there is people who just hung out with literally those people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
But there's also people that hung out with all
around.
different types of people.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that was the majority. Most people had they like number one click, and then they like, all right, I have number two, number three, but it's like you would hop around. So
yeah.
But it was different. You know, like I said,
I try to be a jerker.
High school experience, I would have to say, is different.
Yeah.
No matter what, because it's
local legendary.
Think we're crazy, but
local legendary
in college or even after college, like just talking to people, it's different life.
It was.
It was a different life. Yeah,
it is a different life. you know, it's just
we were just suburban Skins, whatever you want to call it. You know, they could have had Streamwood on a.
Are you talking about Skins, the show?
On MTV, that could have literally been based off of.
I was like,
could have literally been based off of Streamwood High School. Just come in, real life, follow the boys and girls, and see what's good. You'd be surprised, because you know.
That's crazy.
I want to be a rejecter, or what's it called? A jerker.
Oh my God.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
Bring that up.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. Jerk.
It's okay.
Jerk.
Brett and Jake bring that up all the time.
Hey man, we used to have the flannels, the Vans.
Kate had no idea. She was like,
I wouldn't assume.
So you're telling me there was people at your school that just attempted to dance a certain way all the time? And I showed her like the videos of like, I'm talking about like the, you know, like the, like all those people. And she was just like, what the hell is going on?
Kate's from Wisconsin. Because she's from Wisconsin. That's all it is.
It's just a different life, man.
She's not used to that suburban, somewhat slash city type school.
What happens when you go to a good Christian school your whole life? No Christian girl like her would never know nothing like that.
No, they wouldn't. Not a one iota. You feel me? Not a one iota.
Oh God. Just, I always say that to her, like Friday Night Lights. Preacher man. Christian boy like you would never do nothing like that.
Hey, that's funny though. She's like, "What is going on here?" I'm like, "This is life." You remember when we had the lockdown?
We so fly.
Lockdown for the baby?
Huh?
No, we were locked down because there was gang wars.
Oh yeah. What was it? They were like 30 some fights in a week or something like that because they took down the partitions in the cafeteria.
It was incredible. It was honestly one of the best things.
It was wild.
Like I loved getting to college and just talking about Streamwood High School shit, and everyone was just like mind blown. Like I was like, oh yeah, like we did this in high school, or like this happened, and then this happened, and they're like, I had 32 people in my graduating class. I'm like, oh no, Streamwood was something.
We had 500 and whatever people in our class, but yeah, there was stuff going on. Crazy, man. I loved it. It was a beautiful time to be alive.
It was a good experience. Thank God we went to Streamwood, because I feel like I would have been such like just a boring person if I didn't.
Yeah. You would have been basic. In some regards, you would have been basic. You know, Austin himself was basic for a time when he was at Concordia. I had to come down to God to him. I was like, Austin,
what?
Remember
Remember my roots? Is that what you're gonna say?
You gotta remember where you came from. I'm joking. I am joking.
That's why I didn't like anybody at that damn school. I'm just kidding. I like half the people. Let's say that.
Man. Well, I feel like we've reached the end of another lovely episode.
I agree.
Relationships, long distance, moving in. I don't know where we go from here, guys, but you let me know. Outro time. That's where we go from here. Who would like to start? Looks like Austin's preoccupied.
Sorry.
You don't have to say sorry. I was cueing you. Go ahead, Reggie.
What are we doing? What's going on? We ending? Is the show over?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ending it.
Goodbye, YouTube. Sorry. All right, go ahead, Rachel.
All I'm gonna say, and we've said it before a million times, but it's even more so true now in long distance relationships and in taking the next step and moving in together and really trying to figure out if this is your person or not. You need to be able to communicate. You need to have trust. You need to be 100% willing to be your absolute self in front of the person that you are with. Because if you have any doubts, you don't communicate great, you aren't fully trusting, you feel like you still need to hide a part of yourself, maybe you're not ready for that step. Maybe you're not ready for that next step, and that's okay. Because the worst thing you could do is take the next step that you're not ready for, because that's just going to only hurt you and the people that you care about.
That's right. Hell yeah, Rachel.
All right, here's my last outro. Putting the soccer ball on my head. Now this point is gonna last.
You're wearing a hat too. That's cheating.
It doesn't matter, Rachel.
It does matter.
So just like this soccer ball is on my head, Royalty, I want you to picture it. Picture the soccer ball on my head. I'm no soccer player, so I'm not gonna pretend to be a foosball player. So just with your life, don't play house. If you're gonna do it all the way. Like
That's
Bruce.
right. Spend thousands of dollars on furniture together and hope it works. That's right.
That's it. Be all in.
Rachel.
Be all in.
Go all in or don't go all in at all. That's right. Spend the thousands together. Get a joint bank account. Hope it works out.
Keep it lovely, Royalty.